Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Japonya'dan Tokyo University of Foreign Studies bizlerle olacak. Lütfen sorularınızı sağ alt köşede Questions bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Reed, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome to Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Let me now start my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Okay, just a moment, please. Okay, so we are Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Your first step to explore the world starts here. As our name shows, we are located in Tokyo, the capital of Japan, about 30 minutes of a train ride from downtown Tokyo, in a very quiet residential area. We specialize in foreign studies, meaning language studies and international studies. Unfortunately, we do not cover scientific-related fields such as mechanics or IT. As a university specializes in foreign studies, the number of languages taught at this university reaches 79. Among the 79 are so-called 28 major languages, which the students of this university study as their major. As you can see here, Turkish is one of those 28 major languages, which means that once you are here at this university, you will be able to meet with Japanese students who are studying Turkish, your history, and your culture. We are relatively small in size, having 3 undergraduate programs, 5 master's programs, and 3 PhD programs. Among them, School of Japan Studies, the undergraduate program, Peace and Conflict Studies course, our master's program, and the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research are the degree programs that are offered in English or English and Japanese. All 3 programs provide pre-arrival selection, meaning that you will be able to apply for these programs while you are in Turkey and take the interview through the internet video call and have the admission result from Turkey. We are also happy to inform you that the School of Japan Studies and the Peace and Conflict Studies course comes with the Japanese government scholarship opportunity. Talking about scholarship, let me first briefly go over the expenses. As a national university, our academic fees are relatively low compared to the private universities in Japan. As for the living expense, I mentioned before that we are located in the suburb of Tokyo, meaning that the rent is relatively low compared with downtown Tokyo. But still, we're only 30-40 minutes of a train ride from downtown Tokyo. So there's a very good balance of having a very quiet environment and some excitement in the Tokyo. As for financial support, apart from the Japanese government scholarship opportunity, which I will go into details in about a minute, those who will be entering our university as a privately funded student will be able to apply for some financial support. One of them is the tuition exemption, and another is the scholarships provided by private foundations. Once you are accepted to this university, you will be given with the information regarding these financial supports. As for the scholarship provided by private foundations, I have to say that many of the foundations do require some Japanese proficiency, meaning that you are requested to prepare your scholarship application in Japanese and have the interview in Japanese. Some of the foundations do have some additional eligibilities, such as age, nationalities, and in most cases, high academic performance. As for the other facilities of this university, we do have the on-campus international residence, the so-called dormitory. However, I have to say that the number is limited, and since it is not guaranteed, you need to find a private apartment near the campus. Even if you are granted with a room, there is a limitation on residence duration, and many of the international students are also living in a private apartment close to the campus. And the university will be supporting the students to find those private apartments. We do have a healthcare center to provide the students with the healthcare issues. For those who are seeking job opportunities after graduating from this university, we'll be using the so-called Global Career Center, where we have a counselor who specializes in international students' job hunting, providing one-to-one counseling to those who are in need, preparing for the interview, and checking their resumes. We also have a prayer space within the building where most of the classes are being held. Now let me go into two of our graduate programs which are offered in English. Let me start out with Peace and Conflict Studies course. It is a 2-year master's program, and the degree granted upon completion is Master of Arts in International Studies. We accept new students in October of each year. I mentioned before that one of the features of this program is that all courses are held in English. And the students are to write their master's thesis in English as well. The students will be given the unique opportunities to learn critical approaches to the global issues. And our main feature is, as I mentioned before, that it comes with the Japanese government scholarship opportunity. Before I go into the details of the scholarship, let me briefly go over some of the other features as well. We are relatively small in size, accepting between 10 to 12 students per year, but the students come from diverse backgrounds. Let me give you an example regarding the students who entered this program last October. The students come from countries such as Sierra Leone, Uzbekistan, Brazil, Vietnam, Egypt, Rwanda, Russia, Sweden, Indonesia, Germany, and Japan. We also cover a variety of issues and approaches in this field at our curriculum, such as foundation of human violence and group conflict, gender and peace, conflict prevention, and global security, to name a few. We are also very proud of having a very strong alumni network. We have an alumni workshop every year to connect our current students and the alumni who are active in every corner of the world. Probably you are wondering actually what kind of topic that you can study here at the Peace and Conflict Studies course. I would like to say that many of the students do choose a topic that is related to their own country. At the same time, some of the students have decided to pick up the topic that is specially related to Japan, such as the U.S.-Japan Status of Force Agreement in the island of Okinawa or the Article 9 issue. You can actually find a complete list of our past master's theses at our PCS website. Now let me go into the details of the Japanese government scholarship opportunity, which is available for the Peace and Conflict Studies students. In order for you to be eligible to be the candidate of this scholarship, you have to meet some additional eligibilities apart from the eligibility for the Peace and Conflict Studies course. I have listed some of them here. You need to be the nationals of a conflict-affected country. We do not have any fixed definition of what conflict-affected countries are. As long as you can explain through your application that your country has been affected by conflict, we will review your application for the scholarship as well. The conflict can be the conflict within your country or within the neighboring countries or conflict happening elsewhere in the world. You also need to be a holder of an excellent academic record. and you are requested to maintain the same level during the duration of the scholarship. There's an age limit as well. You also need to be a holder of a high English proficiency. And how you can apply for the scholarship? You can apply when you apply for the Peace and Conflict Studies course. I would like to say that we are currently accepting applications for our 2022 program, which commences in October of this year. We have two deadlines. For those who wish to study at this Peace and Conflict Studies course under the Japanese government scholarship, the deadline is early. It is February 10th, 2022. For those who are seeking to study at this Peace and Conflict Studies course as a privately funded student, the deadline is May 6th. If you're interested in studying at this program, please download the application now through the link here or through this QR code. I will also share these links to the chat section after my presentation. Apart from having this Japanese government scholarship opportunity, we do have some financial support, especially for this Peace and Conflict Studies course, who enter this course as a privately funded student. The top 5 students entering this Peace and Conflict Studies course will be given the opportunity for the admission fee exemption and also tuition exemption. So our recommendation is to prepare your application very well, whether for the scholarship or without the scholarship. Having a good application will give you a chance for financial support. There is another doctoral program which is offered all in English, which is the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. It requires a minimum of 3 years of study, and the degree granted upon completion is Doctor of Philosophy, and we accept new students in twice a year, in April and in October. As this title shows, it is jointly offered by 3 universities: Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, which is us, Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, and also University of Electrocommunication. Each university has its own strength. For us, Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, we are strong in liberal arts and international studies. Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technologies have its strength in food, energy, and life science. University of Electrocommunications have its strength in big data, ICT, and AI. As you can see, this program is the combination of humanities and sciences. You can actually find the details at the program website stated here. We cover, our curriculum covers mainly 3 points: lectures, seminars, and laboratories, and internships. We currently have 31 students, including both Japanese students and international students. As for the international students, currently our students comes from Senegal, Namibia, South Africa, Iraq, Pakistan, United States, and China. As for the faculty, 11 faculties are involved, 3 from this university, 4 from University of Agriculture and Technology, and again, 4 from University of Electrocommunication. Probably you're wondering what kind of topic that you can actually study at this Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. As you all know, the Sustainability Development Goals, the so-called SDGs, was adopted by the United Nations in 2015. Since then, this term sustainability became known to the world. And at this program, we support the students trying to examine this sustainability concept from wider perspectives and to bring substantial contributions to the society. We have listed some of the key points here, like poverty alleviation, energy conservation, gender equality, human rights, to name a few. As for the admission information, we mentioned before that we are accepting new students twice a year, and our next intake will be for the October admission of this year. We will start accepting application from late April until early May. If you're interested, please visit the website or contact us at the Global Admissions Office at gao@tufs.ac.jp. Before I end my presentation, let me just briefly mention some of the other availabilities for international students. We do have 2 non-degree programs available. One of them is the exchange program. We call it ISEP. It is applicable for the students of our partner institutions. If you're interested in joining our university as an exchange student, please first check with your university whether your university has a partnership with Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Another non-degree program that is available for international students is the so-called research student. Research student is a student who conducts research in a specific subject under the supervision of a research advisor for no credits and no degree. If you're interested in studying at this university as a research student, please contact us at the Global Admissions Office, gao@tufs.ac.jp. Okay. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Let me now introduce Esma, who has been studying at the Peace and Conflict Studies course for 2 years, graduated from the master's, and then she has been continuing her studies at the doctoral program of this university. Okay. So, Esma, may I ask you to take over?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Esma, and I came here to Peace and Conflict Studies Department in 2015 as a research student first, and then I went on to the master's program, and then I am now a doctoral candidate, continuing my PhD in the same department. So maybe I can add my experience about the MEX scholarship application. For that, I applied before I came to Japan through Japanese embassy, and it's like a long process. It takes about a year. So after I applied after I graduated, and it took about a year before everything was settled. So first, you apply to the embassy for the scholarship, and you go through some steps like that. There were exams and interviews and written exams and all kinds of preparation before the scholarship is decided. And while the scholarship is decided, you also have to apply which university or which professor to work with in the university that you're hoping to go to. So it takes about a year, and this was my experience, and it was now about 6 years ago. So the procedures might have changed. So I would advise you to check with the embassy's website, Japanese embassy's website, to learn the new procedures about the MEX application. And basically, I studied languages before coming here. I don't come from a political science or international relations background. I studied translation and interpreting studies in Bozic University. And I had also taken some Japanese courses. I was interested in going to Japan. But all the courses in this department are in English, and everything we have to do are in English, and everything is basically built around the needs of international students. So it's made for international students. And my friends also came from different backgrounds. Some of them studied languages, some of them studied Japanese, some of them studied English like me. Or I had colleagues who studied political science, international relations, history. And if you're from that kind of humanities or sociology or political science background, I think this would be a good fit for you. So if Ishida-san, do you have any more questions to add? I could answer.
Yes, I would like to ask from my side to Esma, what did you actually do to prepare to come to Japan? Was there any special something that you did to, if currently, let's say some of our participants today are thinking about going to Japan to study,
Mhm.
what do you recommend them to do at the moment?
Mhm. I think the most important thing is that having some knowledge of the Japanese language would help them a lot in their daily lives. So I had taken Japanese courses during university, so I had like an intermediate level Japanese. You don't need it for the courses in our department, but knowing some Japanese would go a long way in helping with your life here. So I would definitely recommend they start learning Japanese before coming here. And also maybe, even though I didn't have any problems adapting to life here or the culture here, but of course it would help to if they learn about the culture and the life here before coming here, and to consider if they could adapt. That could be helpful too.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. We have been receiving many questions, so let me now start going over your questions. Thank you very much for many questions. One question, are there any assistantship opportunities available for international students? Well, the answer is, to be honest, yes and no. We do have some so-called the teaching assistantship here at this university. ESMA has been helping us out with that as well. But to be honest with you, the time and the amount that you can actually get is not that big. So I can say that it's very good for the experience to help the teachers, the faculties regarding the classes that they offer. But it doesn't actually cover, in a sense of financial issues. So I believe my answer should be yes and no. Esma, do you think that you can add something from your experience as a TA?
Yeah, I did TA, but it definitely doesn't cover any much of the living expenses. It's a small help, but it's not enough to cover your expenses here.
Okay. How about your apps for the experience itself? Did you find it kind of beneficial for your studies or your kind of a network establishment, or did you feel it beneficial by doing the TA?
Mm-hmm. It was helpful. For example, in one course, it was a new course for me too. So I was attending the classes and I was helping students with their presentations and stuff. So it helped me learn new things as well, and it helped me to learn about helping the students. But it's not like it's not like teaching. Like I didn't teach the course, or it was more like helping the students.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. The next question is, would IELTS General 5.5 score acceptable? If you can check our admission information, it says that especially for the Japanese government scholarship opportunity, your English proficiency should be CEFAL B2 level or above. In case of IELTS, B2 level refers to 5.5 to 6.5. Okay. Next question is, what is your definition of a good application? Okay, I think it's a very good question. what I can say is that you should have a very specific topic that you are interested in. I think that is very important. It's easy to just say that I am interested in peace and conflict studies, but that is too broad. Um, this is well, I'm currently talking about the Peace and Conflict Studies course. Let's say it's a master's program, so which means that you should have a certain topic that you have already have done some kind of a background research. You know what you want to do. You have to come up with your own research questions. So you should do some kind of a background research when you prepare your research proposal. Okay. Esma, do you have some advice regarding research proposals? How did you prepare your research proposal? You mentioned that you didn't have the particular background in international studies. What did you do to prepare the research proposal for the application?
Mm-hmm. So in my case, I was interested in politics generally after I graduated, so I knew I wanted to pursue something in that field. And after that, I checked, because I wanted to apply to Tufts here, I checked the research interests and what topics could be interesting, what topics could be related. And then I found a general topic and read a couple of books while I was doing the application. But of course, it's not, when you're applying for the master's, you don't have a very specific idea of what kind of research question you will have or something like that. So I think for me, it was more about showing them that I had the motivation, that I want to research this topic, that I would, that I'm personally interested or motivated, and I have the enough academic knowledge to be able to pursue this. So it's important to show that you are motivated and you're excited and you have already done some research at least.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Next question, do you have any dual diploma degree programs with American universities? Unfortunately, not. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Each country's application start date is different, am I right? No, the application start date is same for all, okay? But you need to be careful about the deadline. The deadline stated on the application form is the Japan time, okay? And if you can check our admission information, it says that you have to send out your application documents in paper form, and it should arrive at our admissions office by that date in Japan time, okay? So I recommend you, if you're interested, I recommend you to download the applications as soon as possible, check out the details. If you're interested, check out how many days it requires the documents to arrive in Japan from your place, okay? So I recommend you to do that now, okay? We do not have the computer science option within this program. We specialize in foreign studies, and the two programs that we covered here was Peace and Conflict Studies and the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. In case of Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research, one of the universities that I mentioned today may cover computer science option, but it's only for the doctoral program. So if you're looking for a doctoral program and if you're interested in this sustainability joint studies, then please contact us at the Global Admissions Office for more details. Okay. Does this university offer Japanese language classes? This is again yes and no. The two programs that I mentioned today, it is the degree programs that are offered in English. However, as Esma was also mentioning, although the program does not require Japanese proficiency, for you to live in Japan, Japanese proficiency is necessary. I mean, it's really good to have some Japanese proficiency. So for those students who are studying at this Peace and Conflict Studies course, we provide a special Japanese class called Survival Japanese. It is to provide our international students who come without any Japanese proficiency to have the very basic Japanese in order to, to survive through Japan. Okay. Okay. Okay, how much does MEC scholarship covers, and does it depend on universities or departments? Can you give information on MECs and other scholarships? Okay, I'm sorry. As for the Japanese government scholarship, the amount of the scholarship does not depend on universities or the department. It depends on basically where the university is located. And what I can say at the moment is the number for 2022. Let me see. Okay, as for the 2002 program, the monthly stipend for the university, which is located in Tokyo, is 147,000 yen per month. Okay, and as I mentioned before, it kind of depends on the cities that the universities are located. And as for the MECs, as Esma was saying, Esma came to this university through the Japanese government scholarship through embassy recommendation. There are several types of Japanese government scholarship that you can apply for. So if you're thinking about studying under the Japanese government scholarship, the one place that you should contact is the Japanese embassy, okay? As Esma was saying, and this procedure takes a little bit of longer span, okay? So I recommend you to check with the Japanese government scholarship. And the scholarship that I was explaining, which is called the PGP MEX, this scholarship is attached directly to this Peace and Conflict Studies course. So if you're interested in Peace and Conflict Studies course, then you can apply for the Peace and Conflict Studies course and the Japanese government at the same time. But if you prefer to study at some other major, you may contact the Japanese embassy for more details about the scholarship. And as for the other scholarships provided by private foundations in Japan, well, once you are accepted to our university as a privately funded student, we will give you the information on the available scholarship at that time. Okay. Next question is, how many IELTS points do we require to take for an application to the PhD program of Tokyo University? At first, let me note that we are different from Tokyo University. We are Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. There's another university called University of Tokyo. And these are two completely different universities. So let me first note about that. And as for the PhD program that I mentioned, the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research, it is offered all in English. But for the application itself, there's no specific minimum that you need to have. So please download the application form to check the details about what you need to submit for this Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. Okay. Are there any graphic design or chemistry? I'm sorry, we do not have. We focus on foreign studies, such as language studies and international studies. Okay. Can you give information about the cost of living, such as transportation fees, housing fees, health insurance, cost of personal needs? Okay. What I can say from my side is transportation fee depends on where you live. So we cannot actually give you a certain number. But as for the housing fees, if you are living in Tokyo, in a suburb of Tokyo, where our campus is, the rent of 1 month is somewhere around 40,000 yen to probably 60,000 yen. Okay. And as for the health insurance, in Japan, we have the so-called national health insurance, which is relatively, the cost is low. For the yearly amount, you are to pay somewhere around 10,000 yen per year for the national health insurance. As for the food expense, it should be around between 35,000 and 50,000 yen, I guess. Maybe Esma, you can give me a little, maybe a more better view. Maybe you can speak in Turkish currency, Turkish lira.
Yeah. Turkish lira. I also lost track of how much it is converting it from Japanese yen. When I first came here 6 years ago, it was like different values. So right now it's probably like twice or three times more expensive when I compare it. But monthly expenses, like if we think about the MEC scholarship, it's about 150,000 yen, which is about like $1,500 US, I guess, around that. So it's I think the minimum amount should be around maybe $1,200,000 to $1,500. So I think that's the minimum amount that you need for rent and all the living expenses. Turkish lira, it's it may be about well, it used to be around 10,000 Turkish lira. Right now it might be maybe 15,000, but around maybe $1,500 US monthly.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Are we able to work after our graduation? Does university help with that? As for working, to be honest with you, as I mentioned before, that we do have this global career center where the students usually go when they do the job hunting. So it really depends on the what kind of work you wish to do. And I have to say that it's not easy to find a job here in Japan, especially currently under this COVID-19 situation. But there are many international students who are seeking jobs after graduating from our university. And another point that I would like to mention is, although let's say our program is offered in English, it is necessary to have some Japanese proficiency if you are looking for a job in Japan. So while you are studying, let's say at one of our English degree programs, you need to find some time to improve your Japanese proficiency as well. That will be very necessary in case you would like to work after graduating from our university. Okay. Okay. We already went through the monthly expenses. Is there a GPA requirement for the masters? As for the courses itself, we do not have any requirements regarding GPAs. But as for the Japanese government scholarship, I mentioned before that you need to have a very high academic performance. So if you are seeking to study under the Japanese government scholarship, you need to have a certain level of academic performance. And the Japanese government has its own way of calculating the average grade point. So please download our application. It has the information about how you can check your average grade point. So if you're interested in the Peace and Conflict Studies course, please download the admission information. And I think it's on page 16. There is an instruction of what you should do to have your average grade point checked. So please contact our Global Admissions Office with the details of such instruction. Okay. There's this one question. So it is not possible to apply for a mixed scholarship without some knowledge of Japanese, right? To be honest, no. As for the Japanese government scholarship that has been attached to the Peace and Conflict Studies course, no Japanese proficiency is necessary. Okay. As for the embassy recommendation, Esma, may I ask, how was it at your case when you applied for the Japanese government scholarship?
It wasn't required. You don't need to speak Japanese. But 6 years ago, they did have a Japanese test along with the English test. So people who knew some Japanese took that test too. I think it was a plus, but not a requirement.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, next question. This program is not for a bachelor's degree. Yes, today we are talking about our graduate programs, okay? We do believe we have a session scheduled in February for our bachelor's program, okay? I am planning on getting a master's of education degree. Unfortunately, we do not have a program that is specializes in education. But in Japan, there are some universities that provide specially for the education degrees. So I hope you can check with the Japanese embassy for the list of the Japanese university which covers the education degree. Okay, I'm sorry we do not cover that. Okay. Can you apply to health and medicine program directly? I'm sorry, we do not have any health and medicine program at this university. Okay. Okay. Another question regarding psychology. Unfortunately, we do not have the psychology field again. If you're interested in studying at some other fields, as I mentioned before, I do believe that the Japanese government in Turkey do have some list regarding that. And there's another organization called JASO, which provides a very good list. I don't have the link right now, but maybe you can search for JASSO. Okay, they have a very good list of Japanese universities in Japan. As can law graduates apply for these fields? I do believe that we did have some students who had the law background at our at our programs, both the Peace and Conflict Studies course and the Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. If you're interested, maybe you can contact our Global Admissions Office for more details. Language requirements. Is Duolingo accepted? Unfortunately, no. We do accept TOEFL, IELTS, and TOEIC and Cambridge, but Duolingo at the moment, we do not accept the Duolingo scores. Okay. Is there any alternative fellowship programs that comprehensively covers the tuition and living costs that we can consider applying for? At the moment, I cannot come up with any of the fellowships. What I can recommend is that there are scholarships that may cover some part of it, but the scholarship provided by private foundations usually do not cover tuition. They only give you the monthly stipend, so you need to pay both the living expense and the tuition academic fees from the monthly stipends. Okay. We do not have the architecture program at this university. Do all universities offer dormitories? What types of housing options are available for the master's students? I do believe that most of the university do have a dormitory, but whether it is guaranteed or not really depends on the university. And again, the rent, it really depends on where the university is. And as for our university, as I mentioned before, the number of dormitories is limited, but the rent is not that much different from the private apartment. Okay. For our university, our dormitories ranges from about 25,000 yen to 44,000 yen. And as for the private apartments near the campus, it's somewhere from, as I mentioned before, about 40,000 to probably 50,000. So there's not much difference in that sense. Okay. And let me just, before we end our session, let me just give you the links of our programs so that you can just click on here. Okay, I just put some of the links regarding our university website so that you can actually check and visit our website if you come up with more questions. Or, as I have been saying, our global admissions office is gao@tufs.ac.jp. You can contact us anytime at our global admissions office for more questions. Okay. Do we still have some more time if we can answer some of more questions? I do believe that I answered most of the questions.
There was a question about part-time work and if they can do part-time work while studying.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I maybe missed it. Yes, to be honest with you, many of the students are doing part-time job. Maybe Esma, have you been doing some part-time job in Japan?
I haven't doing part-time work, but I always had scholarships, so it was more like just a additional income. I didn't do I didn't cover all of my expenses through part-time work, but I had some friends who did that, a couple of friends, but it takes a lot of time and energy to do that while studying, and they did have very busy schedules, and it's possible, but also I don't know about right now because it was before the pandemic and there were more part-time job opportunities like working at restaurants and stuff, but right now it's pretty it may be difficult to cover all of your expenses.
Yes, so what I can add to what Esma was saying is that, yes, it is possible to find a part-time job in Japan. For those privately funded students, if you can get some scholarship from the private foundations, and if you can add some of your part-time work income to that, it may work. But covering yourself fully on the part-time job is very difficult, I have to say. It's going to be very difficult for you to concentrate on studying. So try to get some scholarship from the private foundations. And as Esma was saying, you can add some of the incomes from your part-time job as the additional income. Okay. I hope we answered most of the questions. Okay. Okay. Yes, I think I did. Yes.
Hi, Ria and Esma. Thank you so much for your great presentation.
Thank you very much from our side. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much. I think you covered all of the questions. Okay, thank you again. And I just would like to thank all our participants. Merhaba arkadaşlar. Katıldığınız için çok teşekkür ederiz. Sorularınız olursa mail adresinden yine yönlendirebilirsiniz sorularınızı. Could you please share your email address from chat box?
Okay. Should I just type in my email address?
Exactly.
Okay. I have also mentioned the Global Admissions Office. I would prefer everyone to contact our Global Admissions Office, so it will cover many of the related divisions as well. But I will also type in my email address in case you wish to contact me.
Okay, perfect.
I think I typed it correctly. Okay, so my name has been Ria Ishida. You can contact me anytime in case you come up with any further questions. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity together.
Thank you so much. See you soon again. And arkadaşlar, yarınki webinarımız için tekrar görüşmek üzere. Çok teşekkür ediyorum katılımınız için. Hoşçakalın. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.